Alright, welcome back. This is MDawg, and it is a hot summer day. Happy to get to do a little fishing here. Actually, we are leaving for the first of our 2 vacations this summer. We always do 2 weeks of vacation. The first one is coming up starting tomorrow. I'll be gone for 4 or 5 days. And by the time you see this video, actually, it will be probably about halfway through. I'll probably just be gone a couple more days by the time you see this video. Trying to stagger some of these releases while we're gone. We're going to do a little fishing here. We're going to go to 4332, flip 16. 332. It's coming up right here. So, what is interesting about this spot is this is basically straight across. In fact, this is the rock that we normally cast at from our bream spot on the other side. And this one's a little bit longer clip, so it's just interesting. I don't know. Looks like people are having some very good success from here. So I'm like, hey, let's just try it. What's the worst that can happen? We catch some bream and make some money, right? I do want to go large 1 hooks on all 3. And yeah, we'll see how it goes. Alright, let's see if we can figure out where this is landing, because I'm still going to do the same thing we normally do, which is to say I am going to throw some ground bait in. Alright, it looks like the person that I'm looking at least, they are actually aiming just about straight out. Pretty much just straight out here. So let's see where this lands. Okay. I saw where that landed. Now let me see if I go full cast here where this lands. Oh, that's close. Not only is that close, I think that's close enough. Trying to cover the spread here because we will not always cast to that exact same spot. Okay, there we go. And here we go. Okay. Well, let's see how our bream fishing goes. Well, as you can see, we have started fishing very early. I wanted to see what might bite even before it was bream time, because it's not so early that the ground bait won't still be good by the time bream does show up. It's actually perfect, but it is early for bream time, and I think we've got a common carp here. Yep. So last time, and that's 2.19, last time we hit a few common carp that got away, and then there ended up being that 3 kilo common carp cafe order. Now I have no idea if there will be this time. That was like a day or 2 ago, but we'll see. All right. Looks like our 3rd rod has a fish on again. Again, it's just a little slow starting up here, but we're also so early. Actually was kind of hoping we might catch a couple of these 500 plus gram bream just to give us something to do. Although I do want to keep the video recording paused because I don't want to just like bore you to death as we're sitting here not catching too many fish. But believe me, I do predict, unless, you know, it's just going to be a really weird night, I do predict that it will pick up once we get to actual bream time. Now, will this spot be as good as the spot across the way? Doubt it, but we'll see. Oh, maybe we're getting another nibble here. It is this third rod, isn't it? Third rod is the rod that has been chosen to catch the most fish during our bream extravaganza. Wow, what a lucky bream. Big enough for pieces of fish, and it gave us points in bottom fishing. Wow, that fish just keeps giving back. They're starting to pick up. They're small, but they're starting to pick up. Is that a roach? Oh, I love it. The little roach that gave us bottom points. Amazing. Another 500-gram one. $54.3. Wow. Hey, there's our first really nice bream, and that's 44% on bottom. One of those like, well, if it's a bream, it's a nice one. It is a bream, and it is a nice one. Very nice one. That was a little too small. This is one of those markers that we probably don't keep. Alright, so it's 10 p.m. Getting a little focused in here. The bream are starting to come in. Look alive, look alive. Okay, this sounds like a pretty big fish. once again, it is a bream. So unlike the spot across from on the other bank, which I get it, this is the same spot. But my first impression from fishing out of this area, from this direction, is that we certainly could hit a trophy. Where on the other side, even though other people did hit occasional trophies, I never felt like that was a big time trophy producing spot for whatever reason. But I can just tell like the average size here, or not the average size, but at times the sizes early on here has just been a little bigger. And it's just more sort of made me think that maybe trophy chance a little higher right now than before. Ooh, we gotta watch this friction brake. We're actually going to hit level 21 pretty soon. They're still coming in, don't you worry. So far, the only difference in this spot and the other spot that I really notice is it's a little longer clip. We're having to pull them in. You can tell a little difference in the extra 3 or 4 meters we're pulling them in, but like I said, this is pretty much probably fishing the exact same spot, I assume, or it's pretty close. It's seems pretty terrific. 44.2. $44.3. This is a pretty decent bream here. 3 kilo plus, I would say. The bite rate right now is just incredible. So remember, the only rod we have ground bait on is this middle rod. Everything else we're just putting it out there with a feeder on there. And overall, it seems to really be working well. Almost pulled that one too tight, too close. So we just saw our first common carp of the morning. This feels like a bream. I mean, it's not moving. It's just big enough to be a pain over there. We'll see. It is bream. I thought it had some color to it the way the sun was shining on it, but 2.6 bream, 44.5 on bottom fishing. So good. So good. This is why, another reason, not just the silver, I mean, incredible amounts of silver we've made off of bream in this series. But also the bottom points we get. Because you're catching such nice sizes of all of these bream, feels like your chance of hitting points are so high. 2.2. Nice. And let's see what type of, okay, so Paternoster. Paternoster, this one should be basic bottom. Yeah, basic bottom. even if you stopped right now, you would say this has been a very good bream session. You know, we still have an hour and 20 minutes in game to see a couple more nice ones come out. Ooh, 44 point, what did that say? $44.9, so it said 44.8. That's what I thought it said before. Wow. Alright, so it is almost 8 a.m., so almost stop time. Probably stop somewhere between 8 and 9. Ooh. Bait slingshot now available. 45% bottom fishing unlocked. By the way, if you're if you unlock that and you are sort of at a different point than we are on this account in terms of like being ready to really like go after the bigger carp, that's a big deal. I mean, anything that allows you to feed the water more, it's a big deal. So I feel like one of these definitely has a fish on now. It's a very small common carp. 835. Like this is, you know, this is when we should probably just go ahead and be smart about it. Oof. Did we... Is this another good bream, or did we keep it in one fish too many? I think this is a bream, actually. Notice how it's not going anywhere? All right, let's see how we did here. Cafe has, oh, the 3 kilo common carp order again, but we sure did not get one this time. We didn't even get the opportunity for one. But I bet we did very good on silver. 204. So, not as good as the other spot from the other side with the shorter clip and the crazy bite rate, but still a crazy bite rate and still a lot of fish and still a lot of silver. That puts up to 3,400. So I wanna make a trip to Volkov here, so we don't have to worry about stock or prices. You know it's the best on both accounts. Okay, here we are at Volkov. So I think I realized, like, with a little bit more clarity something, and I think if I sort of try to communicate this, I will feel a little more free and clear to move forward with our plan of starting to put together some stuff that we control Kuori with. So, if this was my main account, or if I was talking to someone who was just asking for my advice and it was their main account, and they were level 20 and had earned this much silver, and all they still had was for feeder rods, the starting feeder rods with upgraded Lacerti 2s. So if they basically had the kind of setups that I have now, I would recommend that you spend some of this silver. I'll show you exactly how much. $2,884 with 78.78 of your silver on the Caliber HSV. And here's the reason why. This allows you to both spin fish and feeder fish or bottom fish for a lot of the best techniques and fish species in the game, especially in your foreseeable future as a level 20 player. Now, the reason why we're not going this direction on this account is because this leveling experience includes a small amount of gold, so a few dollars spent, USD dollars spent on gold, to make trips to both Norway and to Copper. So this is like the leveling experience. Most of the time when I do these leveling accounts, leveling guides, level experiences, most of the time it's like completely free to play. So you just, you try to make a guide to help the person who has the least amount of benefits, the least amount of convenience. Here's what I would recommend. Here's how I suggest you go about it if you are playing as a complete free to play. And probably next leveling guide I do will be back to that, because that's the more common approach that I do with these. But this leveling experience specifically has been to include Copper and Norway trips. And the next trip we're due to make is our second trip to Norway. But there's no way I want to make that trip without having spin fishing unlocked. And though it is true, we could just go to Belaya and or Winding and level up spin fishing that way. I want to show as many different ways to approach leveling up spin fishing as I can in this small amount of time we have together while making this series, this experience. So that is what's motivating me. That second trip to Norway and wanting to make sure that we have jigging unlocked. Because jigging unlocked here means that jigging is unlocked here. So if you don't have jigging unlocked spin fishing wise, you can't do it marine fishing until you level up marine fishing to 25%, which we would do during our next trip, probably, but I want to be able to start the trip with the ability to do jigging rigs as one of our options, at least at night. I like them at night especially. Pilker during the day, jigging at night, potentially. The other things we want to make sure before we do our second trip to Norway is that we can do fish fillet preparation, which is at 60%. So we're getting close. We've got a few more thousand egg dough in our future, and we're gonna keep making pieces of fish as we can. So that's my little spiel on that. Okay, let's do it. So the first thing we're gonna do is, because we do want to be able to troll at Kuori more quickly, we're going to buy smaller reels than the Caliber HSV to get us trolling more quickly so that we can level up spin fishing so that we can go to Norway for our second trip, because we believe that in the next 2 trips to Norway, we're going to basically make up the silver we're about to spend. That's sort of the reasoning there. And plus, at the end of the day, I would argue you're never going to be sad about having these reels in your inventory, in your repertoire. These are both, the 2 reels we're getting to start trolling Kuori are both good reels. First one is the Saber 60. The Saber 60 cost a little bit less than the Pulsar 6000, but the Saber 60 is a max drag of 9.9, as you can see, and it has a mech weight of 21.5, so it can withstand around 21 kilos of force before it just blows up. So whatever you do, if your Saber 60 is fully repaired and at 100% efficiency, never put stronger than 21 kilos of force on it. So make sure your leader and or line would snap long before the Saber 60 felt that kind of force. So we're going to get the Saber 60. Second of all, we're going to get the slightly more expensive one, the Pulsar 6000. Max drag is 9.5 on this one. So instead of 9.9, it's 9.5, so it's not quite as strong, but it does have a mech weight of 24. So slightly stronger mech weight, and a slightly bigger spool, though they're almost identical spool size. Personally, I like the Saber 60 slightly better, but it is close. They are both very good. Now, max drag of both of these is right around 10 kilos. So the question is, what spinning rods are we going to use to match with these for trolling Kuori? Okay, so I'm sort of looking through the list here. And though there are lots of intriguing options, I still think the option that makes the most sense to me, by the way, if you want to go if you want to actually spend some money, this might be what I would look at. The Mechta. I've always liked the Mechta. Well, I shouldn't say always, since they came into the game. Or if you really want to spend some, you go up to the Super Duty. Model 1 gets even more expensive. But you see these load capacities. They're just off the chart. But, you know, we're talking about at least 1,000 silver for sort of the ideal rod to go with these. Remember, we're just trying to get something to troll Kuori. Just to get started here. And to me, this is still the one that makes the most sense. So it's 448. We're just getting 2 of them. It won't be that long until, you know, this is a small enough amount of silver that at the point in which you no longer want to use these, it's not that big a deal. You just, you know, throw them in your house in your inventory, get rid of it, whatever. But for now, it'll get the job done. We just have to remember we're not going above 15.4 on these. So let's go ahead and take a look at this. I don't know that we'll be able to afford everything we need, like line and all that, but these are basically the 2 spinning rods we'll be using at Kuori. We'll be going Saber 60 and we'll be going Pulsar. Now, we probably won't We've got to look at classic leaders. We could make our own. Let me be reminded if we have any material for this. Common leader. Material. Now we don't want to make it out of that. We would really want fluorocarbon. So it might just make more sense for right now to get us started. Is just go down to fluorocarbon and we want 11.6. Something like that. 11.6 would actually probably be good. We could do 10. But I think I like 11.6. It gives us a little more freedom. Because we might want to put like 12 kilo line on there. If such a thing exists. Alright, let's look at our line. We want somewhere around 12 kilo. We probably can get away with 110 meters. We're going to be trolling, so we're going to be chasing. Now, it would be safer and more comfortable to put the big line on there. But just don't know if it's necessary. Yeah, that's 13. That's not like the worst, and it's so cheap. I wish they made that super braid in 300 gram, 350 meter, I mean. Would blue look pretty sweet on these rods and these reels? I think blue would actually look pretty sweet. So let's try it. I mean, the worst that happens is we decide, like, you know what? Nah, it's too small. We wasted 12 silver. It'll be okay. Okay, classic leader, so 11.6. You can kind of see how we're setting this up. So we put spiker on there. Don't we have... That Hornet could be good too. We definitely try the Hornet before we would that other one. So like we could start off with these two. These two would probably be a pretty good bite rate. And you want a good bite rate because what we're trying to do is catch fish to level up to unlock jigging, right? And we can't even fish with a spoon yet, although we will be able to at 15%, so that's coming. So one thing I will say is let's just look on the weeklies, just out of curiosity, and see what is, in terms of ultralight, what has caught the biggest... The two things you want to look at are the two fish that are only available at Kuori. Oh my goodness. Did the reset just happen? What is today? Today is Sunday. Okay. I'm filming this on Sunday, so... so that doesn't help us. We'll see about... The other one is Savan Trout. You want to look at Savan Trout, and you want to look at Kuori Char. Okay, so look at this guy. Type 4. 3.5001 and spiker 18. Type 4. Now I don't know if that color is like the typical best type 1. Let's see how much these type 4s actually cost. Can't remember if these are pretty expensive. I'm also not sure now which one it is. It's not that expensive. Let's double check which one it is though. Type 4, 3.5 gram. And that was the 01. Oh, this is technically a spoon. I didn't think about that. This is technically a spoon. So the only thing I'm trying to think about is I just don't want to get too Norway. Not that we're going to do it during this video, obviously, but I don't want to get too Norway and then not have at least a couple of spinnerbait options. We already have the Spiker 2. Which one do we have? The 17. I mean, really, in some ways, it might just be worth getting the 18, which is probably the best bite rate overall. Just not knowing, I mean, that's probably the most reliable, not knowing what exactly is going to be working there. This is so reliable. It might just be worth doing that. I feel like anything else, yes, there's other really good option, like these in particular can be good. Obviously the Achilles, you want the 4 gram Achilles, those can be really good. There's a lot of things that can be good. Hornets are awesome a lot of the time. But how do we not just get this? Okay. Okay, so we'd probably start off with something like this. Little red, little yellow. And then, you know, again, try to make some adjustments as needed. But we got to fish with those just to unlock the ability to use a spoon, and then eventually unlock the ability to use jigging at Norway. Okay. We've set it up. Hopefully next time we'll actually do it, although those bream are so tempting if you want to make good Sunday. All right, thanks for watching. I'll see you next time, folks.